Scott, thanks very much for joining us this morning. One of the first things we want to talk about in this whole month of devoting ourselves to launches is what sort of things do you really need to have on hand to launch? Now, you've got some great resources that you want to tell us about. What is Geneva Push providing so people can get ready for launches?
Well, we've got a great resource called Church in a Box, which is going to help you, I guess, with a whole bunch of logistics and the behind-the-scenes stuff. It's probably not exciting to talk about governance and constitutions and other things like that, but it's really important before you get launched that you've got a constitution in place, you've got your insurances. Often a lot of places won't actually let you hire the premises, so if you don't have those things in place, you can't actually hand them a public liability slip that says, hey, we can rent from you. You're going to need a bank account as well, because hopefully your core team is already giving, and when you launch, you're going to need money, money to pay yourself, to pay to put the lights on in the building, all that sort of stuff. So getting the governance right. Now, Church in a Box is a resource that we provide to our Geneva recommended planters. And as I said, it's not really the most exciting topic to be talking about, but I'm happy to field people's questions. So please email me, Scott S at the Geneva Push, and I'll hopefully be able to answer your questions about constitutions and governance. So that's the first thing.
It's interesting you should say that, because lots of people spend lots of time getting all sorts of things like evangelism strategies and all sorts of things that they're going to do. How are they going to make people feel welcome?
Yeah, just wait. That's only the first of 5. So,
okay, so
I think the second thing that our website has, it's got lots of stories. One of the things I often say to a church planter sort of kicking out is go and speak to someone who's launched recently or launched in the last 6 months. Now, the website has a number of stories. So you can hear Dan Godden talking about how he built momentum in Wollongong. You can hear just about Peter Cohen and his launch last week at Bankstown City Church. Read those stories. You might disagree with half of what you read. You might think we're going to do it completely differently, or this is not our context. What I find helpful is that as you listen to stories, you listen to other people's experiences, you learn lots about your own context and also about how you might do that. So second thing is listen to those stories.
So it's not all just reading and stuff. There's actually things to listen to.
Yeah, there's some great audio content, and there's also, Word document resources as well. But again, I think face-to-face. Jump on the website, you'll see all our planters. Have a look through the list and see if there's a similar context to you. You'll be able to connect with them via Facebook, via Twitter, and via email. And so get in contact with them, and I'm sure they'll be more than willing to sit down with you and have the conversation about their church plant. Church planters, one thing I know about church planters is they love telling their stories. They love talking about their church. And, as you have that conversation, they'll no doubt be asking you to join their church.
Okay, so it's not just church planters, though, is it? When a church planter gets ready to go, when a church planting team is going to start, it's a team of people. So what sort of resources do we have for the teams?
Yeah, so you're right. The third area to look at, I guess, for a church planter is, well, how do you actually get this launch team together? Who should I have on this launch team? So Andrew Hurd's got a great video resource, and there'll hopefully be a link below pointing you towards this. A great resource about getting that launch team together and who should I have on the launch team. Chris Eakins has got a great resource on how do you keep evangelism on the agenda of your launch team. So they're just two areas and 2 videos that will be really helpful for launch team and core team development. As well, in Church in a Box, we've got a number of articles, selected articles from some key church planting resources, which you'll be able to access as well.
Are there resources that actually help train the team as well? Maybe like in evangelism or things like that?
Yeah, so one of the things, one of the big landmines that a church planter face is that evangelism stops once you publicly launch. We can sit back, we're doing church. We're actually doing church now. Well, church planting should be the natural consequence of evangelism. As we make disciples and then gather around the Word of God, we see a church being started. And so there are some great resources online talking about follow-up courses, helping you engage your team in mission and evangelism discipleship. So in the Church in a Box resource, there's a number of courses and designs that our church planners have come up with. But I'd encourage everyone. There's the Simply Christianity course. There's the Christianity Explained course. There's Alpha courses. Look at the course that's actually going to be helpful for your context and for your people. Carson has developed a follow-up course, which I think is you kind of need to have 4 university degrees to understand it, but that might be your context. You might be trying to reach postgraduate students in Canberra. And so that could be the course for you. So think about your follow-up course. Be doing that before you launch, and then be doing that after you launch, so that you've actually got a next step for someone. Someone comes into your gathering and they say, hey, I want to find out more about this Jesus that you've just told me I need to put my faith and trust in. Have the follow-up course ready to go, so that there's a next step for someone who's coming into your church.
Well, you're talking about the launch. Is there something as simple as a checklist or practicalities about launching?
Yeah, there is. I'm just trying to think, Mark. You know our resources really well, and
well, actually, I do know you've got me. I'm actually thinking about the Toby Neal webinar we've just put up.
You are. There's a great resource that Toby's just provided for us last week, where there are 6 things that you need to get ready for a church plant. Toby planted a church 3 years ago in Surrey Hills, and I think one of the things that he's done well over time is get that celebration, get those big events right. He's thought about how a big event can give your people a picture of what church could look like in the next few phases. And so there's not only that webinar, but there's 6 key things that have come out of that. There's also a good article on campaigns by Rick Warren, Pastor Rick Warren of the Purpose Driven Church, Saddleback. And Keller's got a great article that we've pointed to as well on growth barriers. So yeah, finally, I mean they're all helpful things to think about, the size of your church and what that means for when you put on a big event.
And so of course these 5 areas of resources are just some of the things that are available, and we're charging a mozza for people to come and have a look at this stuff?
No, Mark. Our desire is to see hundreds of new churches evangelised into existence across Australia. We want to see good quality Australian resources, and so our online resource library is for free. We want that because we want to see no barriers to a church starting to think, and then God willing move towards launching a church. So they're freely available. GenevaPush.com/resources. GenevaPush.com/resources.
You're starting to sound like a dental ad.
Yeah.
Look, thanks very much for your time, Scott. We will put up in the show notes all of the links that you're talking about. And thanks again, and hopefully we'll see more traffic to the resources.
Great.